Hear ye, hear ye. Boxing fans, lend me your ears. Hot off the presses, Pugilism Company, read the Black Bert Sugar, bringing you Pugilism Podcast. What we've learned is Saul Canelo Alvarez has officially been suspended for 6 months for failing a PED test. The substance in his system was obviously clenbuterol. Was all up in him. Contaminated meat was the cause, per Team Canelo. Now, in an interesting twist, this was a 1-year suspension, which was immediately reduced to 6 months by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. This was because of the full cooperation they've received from Team Canelo and Golden Boy Promotions. They also elected not to fine Canelo for not once but twice failing performance-enhancing drug tests. The first of which was on February 17th, the second of which was February 20th. Again, 1-year suspension reduced to 6 months and no fine at all. Speaking of the 6 months, that's retroactive to the date of the first failed test, which is February 17th, which means Canelo would effectively be eligible to box again August 17th. That date is important because it precedes, September, which is the month of Mexican Independence Day. The second biggest date on the boxing calendar, in my opinion, behind only Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo, Mexican Independence Day, those are in honor of the biggest fan base boxing has, our Mexican fans. We thank you, and on a yearly basis, those are the dates we use to celebrate your support for our sport. Typically, boxing's marquee guy is on that card. It's been Canelo the last few years. Prior to that, it was Floyd Mayweather for several years. Prior to Floyd, it was the Golden Boy himself, Oscar De La Hoya. But this year, Canelo won't be on it. The verdict has been rendered, and Canelo won't be participating. He won't be fighting. He'll be suspended. Instead, we'll have Triple G, Gennady Golovkin, squaring up against Vanes Martirosyan. Instead of the pay-per-view extravaganza that we're accustomed to, we'll instead get this one on HBO, regular HBO, May 5th, from the StubHub Center in Carson, California. So no Vegas, no pay-per-view, no big-time showcase event, none of that. We're going to get a regular HBO fight with Triple G against a junior middleweight. Now, I'm not mad about that. I'm really not. I'm not mad about that. On short notice, did you really expect Triple G to face a monster? Did you really expect him to face the undefeated Derevyanchenko? Or to do an immediate rematch, or not immediate, but to do a rematch with Daniel Jacobs, who, to me, has given Triple G his toughest fight by far. That wasn't realistic. Neither was Derevyanchenko. Demetrius Andrade is he can make anyone look bad. Billy Joe Saunders didn't want the fight. Spike O'Sullivan didn't want the fight. So in the 11th hour, when all else fails, just pick the guy that you can get some work with, that has a name, not a complete scrub, but yet he won't beat you. And Martirosyan fits the bill. And for what it's worth, Martirosyan saying all the right things. He's acting as if he believes he can win. We'll see come fight night. Canelo, it's surprising, but it's not. For the life of me, I didn't think the Nevada Commission would forsake such a monetary spectacle, the opportunity to make so much loot at one time, to sacrifice this opportunity on Cinco de Mayo a fighter the caliber of Canelo, with all of his sponsors, with all of the people he would bring to Vegas, the casinos, the T-shirt sales, the site fees, everything that goes into it. It shocks me that the Nevada Commission went this route, but maybe they're trying to clean things up in this sometimes shady sport we know as boxing. For what it's worth, Canelo removed himself from consideration, I believe that was April 3rd, because he got wind of the fact that the commission would suspend him for at least 6 months. Again, for the clenbuterol all up in him via contaminated meat. On that front, we have Abner Maris and Leo Santa Cruz, also of Mexican descent. They've made it known that they will be steering clear of meat altogether. They won't have meat products as a part of their training regimen or their diet. So they don't want any close calls. They don't want any discrepancies. They don't want to take anything or leave anything to chance, which is the smart way to approach this. So again, Canelo suspended. That's a wow moment. That's a wow moment. This close to such a big fight, to such an important fight. But rest assured, we'll see him in Golovkin for September and Mexican Independence Day weekend, assuming Triple G gets out of this Martirosyan fight clear, free of injury, no hand injuries, no cuts, things of that nature. We'll see that big fight that we've all been anticipating in September. On that note, y'all, hey, Pugilism Podcast, we're bringing it to you as soon as we hear it, fresh off the presses, giving it to you more immediate, up to date. You want it now? We'll give it to you now. Pugilism Company. Read the Black Bert Sugar. Pugilism Podcast. Out.